My name is Alara Quinn. I am 20 years old. Last night, I saw my father with another family. A woman was holding his hand, and two kids were calling him Dad. I froze. I called my mother immediately, but instead of shock, she just smiled and said, "Don't react. You only saw half-truth." And what she told me next made my whole body shake. Before I tell you what actually happened, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel and tell me your country in the comments. Now, let's begin. Last night, I planned to go to a restaurant with my friends for a small treat. Nothing big, just a break from routine. We had been planning it for days. I remember getting ready in front of the mirror, fixing my hair, choosing what to wear. It felt like a normal night, peaceful, easy. When I reached the restaurant, my friends were already there, laughing, talking loudly, full of that kind of energy that makes you forget everything else. I joined them, smiling, and for a while, everything felt fine. We ordered food, took pictures, made jokes. But even in that moment, I don't know why, something felt off, like a quiet feeling sitting in the back of my mind. I ignored it, telling myself I was overthinking. After some time, I stood up. "I'll be back," I said, just wanting to walk a little and clear my head. The restaurant was full, families, couples, people enjoying their night. I walked slowly, my eyes moving around without thinking, and then I saw him. At first, it didn't make sense. My mind didn't react, it just paused. My father. He was sitting at a table across the room, wearing the same shirt he had worn earlier that day. There was no mistake, it was him. But he wasn't alone. A woman sat beside him, close, comfortable, her hand holding his. My chest tightened instantly. I didn't move. I couldn't. Then I noticed the two children sitting with them. A boy, maybe 10, and a girl around 7 or 8. They were smiling at him like he was their whole world, like they belonged with him. And then I heard it. Clear, soft, but loud enough to break everything inside me. "Dad." My heart dropped. My fingers went cold. My breathing slowed, like my body didn't know how to react. They called him Dad. No, this wasn't possible. I took a small step back, my eyes still fixed on them, trying to find something, anything, that could prove this was a mistake. But there was nothing. He smiled at them, talked to them like this was normal, like this was his life. The woman leaned closer, said something, and he smiled again. That moment felt unreal, like I was watching someone else's life, not mine. My hands started shaking. Without thinking, I stepped away quickly before anyone could see me and moved back toward the corner near the entrance. My heart was racing now, loud, heavy, and there was only one thing in my mind. I pulled out my phone and dialed my mother's number. She picked up after the second ring. "Hello." My voice came out weak, unstable. "Mom, I just saw Dad." There was a pause. "What do you mean?" "I'm at a restaurant and he's here." I swallowed, my throat dry. "He's not alone." Silence. "There's a woman with him and two kids." My voice dropped to a whisper. "They're calling him Dad." For a second, I expected everything to break. Panic, shock, anger, but instead her voice stayed calm. Too calm. "Listen to me carefully," she said. I froze. "Don't react. Don't go to them. Don't say anything." My grip on the phone tightened. "Mom, what are you saying?" "I'm coming there," she said quietly. That was it. No questions, no shock, no disbelief, just calm. The call ended. I stood there, still trying to understand what was happening. My eyes slowly moved back toward their table. He was still there, laughing, talking like nothing was wrong. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't know my father at all. My mind started racing. No, this didn't make sense. Not him. Not my father. He loved my mother. I had seen it my whole life. The way he spoke to her, the way he cared, the small things he did every day. He wasn't that kind of man. He couldn't do this, not like this, not behind her back. And yet he was sitting there, with another woman, another life. How? My chest tightened, my thoughts crashing into each other. And then my mother's voice echoed in my head, "Don't react." Why? Why would she say that? Why was she so calm? Any normal person would panic, rush in, ask questions, break down. But she didn't. She sounded like she already knew something. and that thought scared me more than anything. I stood there, frozen, my eyes drifting back to that table again and again, trying to understand, trying to find answers without even knowing the questions. Minutes felt like hours. Then I saw her. My mother walked into the restaurant slowly, calm, composed, like she wasn't walking into chaos. I rushed toward her. Mom. But she gently held my arm, stopping me. Stay here, she said softly, her voice steady, controlled. I stared at her, confused. Mom, what are you doing? Did you see? I said stay, she repeated. Then she looked toward that table. Toward him. My heart started pounding. This was it. Now, everything would explode. But it didn't. She just looked. No anger. No shock. Just calm. And then something happened that made everything worse. My father looked up. Their eyes met. And instead of panic, instead of guilt, he smiled. A small, quiet smile. And my mother smiled back. My breath caught in my throat. What? He gave a slight nod, like they understood something without words. And she nodded back like everything was fine. Nothing made sense anymore. I stepped forward, my voice shaking. Mom, what is this? What are you doing? She turned to me, still calm. Let's go home, she said. I stared at her in disbelief. What? No. Mom, are you serious right now? My voice rose before I could stop it. Your husband is sitting there with another woman. People around us started noticing, but I didn't care. He has a whole other family. Those kids are calling him Dad. My chest rose and fell rapidly. And you're just standing here smiling? Tears filled my eyes. He's been lying to us for years. Before I could say anything else, she grabbed my hand tightly. Enough. Her voice wasn't loud, but it stopped me instantly. Don't say another word about your father like that. I froze. Her grip tightened slightly. You're only seeing half the truth. My mind went blank. Half the truth? What are you talking about? I whispered. She looked at me, and for the first time there was something deeper in her eyes. Something heavy. Something serious. Come with me, she said softly. No more questions here. I didn't move. I couldn't. Nothing made sense. My father, that woman, those children, my mother smiling, telling me to stay quiet. It felt like I had stepped into a completely different world. She gently pulled my hand. Let's go home, she said again. This isn't what you think. I looked back one last time. At that table. At my father. Still sitting there. Still calm, like he wasn't afraid of being seen. And that scared me the most. Because it meant one thing. He had nothing to hide. Or everything had already been decided. The drive home felt longer than ever. No one spoke. Not me. Not my mother. And the silence inside the car felt heavy, almost suffocating. My mind kept replaying everything I had just seen. My father, that woman, those children, and my mother smiling. Nothing made sense. The moment we reached home, I stepped out quickly. I couldn't hold it in anymore. Mom, please, I said, my voice shaking. Tell me what's going on. She didn't answer immediately. She walked inside calmly, placed her bag on the table, then turned toward me. Sit down, she said softly. I don't want to sit, I snapped. I want answers. My chest was rising fast, my hands still trembling. She looked at me quietly for a few seconds, then slowly sat down. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't something small. This started years ago, she said, her voice calm but heavy. Your father had a best friend. They were like brothers, they trusted each other more than anyone. She paused slightly, her eyes lowering. Then one day, everything changed. He got sick. Very sick. My breathing slowed as I listened. At first, they thought it was treatable, but it wasn't. As time passed, his condition got worse. Hospital visits became normal, pain became constant. And then one day, he knew he wasn't going to survive. The room felt quieter now. He called your father alone, she continued. He didn't want anyone else to hear. And he asked for one thing, a promise. I swallowed slowly as she looked at me. He said, after I'm gone, take care of my wife and my children. Her voice grew heavier. He wasn't just asking, he was begging. He was crying. Your father told me he had never seen him like that before. He said there was no one for them, no support, nothing. He held your father's hand and said, "If you don't stand with them, they will be destroyed." I felt my chest tighten. Your father couldn't refuse him, not in that moment. She exhaled softly. At first, he only helped with money, food, rent, school. He visited sometimes just to check on them. That's all it was. Then her expression changed slightly. But after his friend died, things started to change. People began to notice. A young woman living alone and your father visiting again and again. Her tone turned bitter. And society is never kind. Whispers started, then accusations. They questioned his character, her dignity. People laughed, made stories, judged them without knowing anything. My hands slowly tightened as I listened. "And that woman," she said softly, "she was already broken." Then one day, she told your father, "Please stop coming here." She said, "The world is not good. They are blaming us. They are destroying whatever little respect we have left." She didn't want help like that anymore. She didn't want to live under suspicion. She paused, then continued quietly. "That's when your father realized something. Money wasn't enough. He could support them, but he couldn't protect them." That line hit deep.
"So he made a decision," she said.
The only one that could end all of it. I already knew before she said it. He married her. Not out of love, but to give her a name, to give those children respect, to stop the world from tearing them apart. Everything started to make sense now. He didn't just give them support, she added softly. He gave them protection. Then she looked at me. And after that, he came to me and told me everything. "What did you do?" I asked quietly. She gave a faint, painful smile. I didn't accept it right away. I was angry, hurt, confused. But then I went to see them. I saw that woman, those children, they had nothing. Fear in their eyes, no future. She took a slow breath. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't betrayal. This was someone's last hope. My eyes filled. "So, I made a choice," she said. "I told your father, if this is a promise you made, then we will carry it together." From that day, there were no lies between us. But we kept it from you.
"Why?"
I asked softly. She held my hand gently. "Because he tried to tell you many times. But he was afraid you would hate him, afraid of losing you." My chest tightened again. And then, the door opened. I turned instantly. My father walked in and, behind him, that woman and the children. Everything felt still. This time, nothing was hidden. He looked at me, his eyes calm but emotional. "They know everything now," he said quietly. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak, but I walked toward him anyway. Tears falling freely, and without thinking, I hugged him tightly. "You're the best father in the world," I whispered. His arms wrapped around me, tight, relieved. And in that moment, I finally understood. He was never living a lie. He was carrying a promise. After that, everything started to feel complete. We no longer felt like two separate families. We became one. We began living together in the same home, sharing everything. The house felt alive again, filled with laughter, conversations, and a warmth that had been missing for so long. We went out together too, simple dinners, sitting around one table, smiling like we had always been this way. The kids laughed freely, my father looked peaceful, and my mother still had that same calm smile.
But now,
I finally understood it. There was no confusion anymore. No doubt. No questions left. Only truth and only love. And for the first time, I felt proud. Proud of my father. Proud of my family. Because what I once thought was betrayal turned out to be something far greater. A promise that didn't break us. It brought us together as one.